The first thing I felt was the cold. Concrete under my bare feet. A draft crawling up my legs. Then the lights came on, too bright, too sudden, and my stomach dropped like I was falling through air. I was standing on a small wooden platform in the middle of a warehouse. Barefoot. Shaking. A white card with a black number 27 was pinned to my chest. For half a second, my mind refused to accept it. This wasn't real. This was a nightmare stitched together from every bad decision I'd ever made. Then the noise hit me. Laughter. Low and cruel. Men's voices overlapping. The scrape of chairs on concrete. Cigarette smoke hung thick in the air, burning my throat every time I breathed. Someone whistled. Someone else snapped a photo. Look at that one, a voice said. Barely got any fight left in her. I didn't look up. If I looked up, I might break. My hands were clenched so tight my nails cut into my palms. I focused on that pain instead of the panic clawing up my chest. Focused on breathing. In. Out. Don't run. Don't scream. That only made things worse. Debt. That word floated through my head like a curse. I didn't owe money. Not really. I owed time. I owed silence. I owed obedience. It had started small, helping the wrong person, signing something I didn't understand, trusting a man who smiled too easily. By the time I realized what I'd been dragged into, the numbers were too big and the threats too real. You don't pay, they'd said. You get paid for. A bell rang somewhere to my left. Lot 27, the auctioneer announced, his voice smooth, bored, like he was selling furniture instead of me. Clean record. Healthy. No complications. No complications. A man in the front row raised his hand. 10. Another voice immediately followed. 15. 20. The numbers climbed fast. Too fast. My skin crawled as eyes dragged over me, weighing me, imagining things I didn't want to imagine. Someone commented on my hair. Someone else laughed about how long I'd last. I stared at a crack in the floorboards and tried to disappear into it. 35. A man said lazily. She'll do. She'll do. My chest tightened. Each bid felt like a door slamming shut, one after another. Freedom. Dignity. Choice. Gone. 40. 45. A hand reached out from the crowd and brushed my ankle, just to see if they could. I flinched, a sharp gasp escaping me before I could stop it. Laughter erupted again. The auctioneer smiled wider. See? Still responsive. I bit the inside of my cheek until I tasted blood. 50. Then, silence. Not the awkward kind. The heavy kind. Like the air itself had frozen. No new bids. No comments. Even the laughter died down. Confused, I finally lifted my head. That's when I saw him. He sat in the back, half hidden in shadow, leaning against a steel pillar like he didn't care whether he won or lost. Black leather jacket, heavy boots, arms crossed. His face was rough, scarred in a way that told stories no one survived telling twice. One scar cut across his cheekbone, pale against dark skin, catching the light when he shifted. His eyes were on me. Not hungry, not amused, assessing. Slowly, deliberately, he raised his paddle. 70, he said. His voice was calm, flat, certain. A ripple of unease moved through the room. I felt it even before I understood why. Men glanced at each other. Someone cursed under their breath. 70 going once, the auctioneer said, hesitation creeping in for the first time. 80, someone tried from the side, but it sounded weak. Forced. The biker didn't even look at him. 100, he said. Just like that. The room went dead silent again. No counter. No jokes. No laughter. The auctioneer swallowed. 100, going once. My heart pounded so hard I thought I might pass out. I didn't know why this felt worse than before, but it did. The men who'd been bidding on me like entertainment now looked uneasy. Afraid. Going twice. The biker's gaze never left me. Not possessive. Not kind. Intent. The gavel came down with a sharp crack that echoed through the warehouse. Sold. The sound hit me like a gunshot. I stood there, numb, as applause broke out, thin, nervous clapping. The auctioneer called the next number, already moving on, already done with me. Someone reached for my arm, but all I could see was him, pushing to his feet in the back of the room, taller than I'd thought, scars catching the light as he turned. And in that moment, with my number still pinned to my chest and my future ripped out from under me, one thought drowned out all the others. I had just been sold to the most dangerous man in the room. They didn't drag me to him. That was the first thing that felt wrong. I'd braced myself for rough hands, for being shoved forward, for someone to grip my arm like I was already owned. Instead, the man who unpinned the number from my chest avoided my eyes entirely. He muttered something into a radio and gestured toward a side door. "Go," he said quietly. "He's waiting." Waiting. The hallway beyond the warehouse was dim and narrow, lit by flickering fluorescent lights. Every step I took echoed too loudly. My heart hammered against my ribs, each beat screaming that I was walking straight into something irreversible. He stood at the end of the hall. Up close, he was even more intimidating. Taller than me by a full head, broad shoulders filling the space like he belonged there. The scars on his face were clearer now, jagged, old, earned. But what unsettled me most was that he wasn't looking at me. Not really. His attention was on his gloves as he pulled them off, methodical, unhurried. Like I wasn't standing there barefoot, trembling, waiting for my life to collapse.
"Sit," he said.
His voice was low.
"Calm."
Controlled. Not a command barked for dominance. Worse, spoken like a fact. I sat. The chair was cold metal. He leaned against the wall across from me, arms crossed again, eyes finally lifting. When they met mine, I felt pinned in place. There was no heat there. No cruelty. Just focus. "You're not going to scream," he said. "And you're not going to run." It wasn't a threat. It was an assessment. I swallowed. "You bought me." "Yes." The word landed heavy between us. "For what?" My voice shook despite my effort. He studied me for a moment, like he was deciding how much truth I could handle. Then he pushed off the wall and stepped closer, not too close. Close enough that I could smell leather and smoke and something metallic underneath. "I didn't buy you to hurt you," he said. "And I didn't buy you to save you." That confused me more than anything else. "I bought you," he continued, "to make a deal." My stomach twisted. "I don't have anything left." "You do," he said calmly.
"Time."
"And obedience." There it was. He raised one finger. "First condition. You stay with me for 60 days. 60 days. I echoed. "After that, you walk.
Clean.
No one follows. No one comes looking." It sounded too neat. Too easy. He raised a second finger.
Second.
"When I say move, you move. When I say stay, you stay. During jobs, you don't question me." "Jobs," I repeated, dread pooling in my chest. He didn't explain. Third finger. "Third. You never ask about my scars. Not where they came from. Not who gave them to me." The air shifted after he said it, like that rule mattered more than the others. "And if I break them?" I asked. His eyes hardened just a fraction. "You won't." I let out a shaky laugh. "You expect me to believe this? That I just stay with you, obey you, and then I'm free?" "Yes." "Why?" The word slipped out before I could stop it. For the first time, something dark flickered behind his eyes. "Because after 60 days," he said, "the people who put you on that stage won't exist anymore." A chill ran down my spine. I searched his face for signs of a lie, seduction, manipulation. But there was nothing persuasive in him. No softening. No reassurance. That scared me more. "You could let me go now," I said. "If you wanted." He tilted his head slightly. "And you'd be dead by morning." Silence stretched between us. "You don't trust me," he said. "No," I whispered. "Good." He turned away, already done with the conversation. Trust gets people killed. As he walked down the hall, I noticed something I hadn't before. The men who'd run the auction, the ones who'd laughed, who touched me were pressed against the walls, eyes lowered. One of them flinched when the biker passed.
Fear.
Not of the law. Not of consequences. Of him. And in that moment, as the door closed behind us, I realized something that made my blood run cold. I wasn't his prisoner. I was his weapon. The bike vibrated beneath me like a living thing. I clung to his jacket as the night tore past us, cold wind biting into my skin, the roar of engines drowning out every thought except one. Don't let go. We weren't alone. Headlights fanned out ahead and behind us, a pack of motorcycles slicing through the highway in tight formation.
His club.
Men and women moving with practiced precision, leather and steel and shadows. No one spoke. No one needed to. I didn't know where we were going.
I didn't ask.
The city lights fell away, replaced by long stretches of darkness and trees blurring into streaks. For the first time since the auction, my heartbeat began to slow. That's when the gunshot cracked the night open. The sound was sharp, unmistakable. A flash from the trees to our left. Down, someone shouted over the comms. The biker leaned forward instantly, body shifting to shield mine as the bike swerved. Another shot rang out. Glass shattered somewhere behind us. Tires screeched. Panic surged through me, white-hot and paralyzing. They'd found us. More shots followed, rapid and wild. The calm of the ride exploded into chaos. Bikes fanned out, engines roaring louder as the road curved sharply. Bullets sparked off metal. Someone cursed. I pressed my face into his back, heart slamming against my ribs. I expected him to slow down.
To dumb me off.
To choose escape over me. He did the opposite. He accelerated. The bike surged forward, weaving between the others as he took the lead. His arm came up, firing back without looking, movement smooth and practiced. Not reckless.
Trained.
A truck burst out from a side road ahead, blocking the lane. Headlights blinded me. I screamed. At the last second, he veered off the asphalt and onto gravel, the bike skidding as we tore through brush and dirt. Branches whipped at my legs. Thorns bit into my skin. Another bike went down behind us with a sickening crash. We didn't stop. The ambush ended as suddenly as it had begun. No sirens. No pursuit. Just the echo of engines fading into the dark. We regrouped miles later at an abandoned rest stop, the concrete cracked and overgrown. My hands were still shaking when he finally cut the engine. I slid off the bike, legs weak. That's when I saw the blood. It soaked through the side of his jacket, dark and spreading. "You're hurt," I said, panic flaring again. "It's nothing. It's bleeding." He looked down, annoyed more than concerned. Ricochet. One of the club members tossed him a med kit and disappeared to keep watch. He sat on a concrete barrier and peeled back his jacket. The wound was ugly but shallow. I dropped to my knees without thinking and took the kit from him. "Hold still," I said. He hesitated, then let me. My hands were steadier than I expected as I cleaned the wound, the smell of antiseptic sharp in the air. He didn't flinch, didn't react at all. "Those men," I said quietly. "They were from the auction." "Yes." "They found us too fast." "Yes." "You knew they would." He met my eyes. I counted on it. The words sent a chill through me. As I taped the bandage in place, my gaze drifted to his chest where his shirt had shifted open. I froze. The scars. Not the ones on his face, the ones etched into his skin. Symbols. Lines and markings burned deep, intentional. I'd seen them before. On the walls of the auction house. Carved into the stage. Inked on the wrists of the guards. My breath caught. "You've been there," I whispered. "Not as a buyer." His jaw tightened. "You know how it works," I said, the pieces snapping together in my mind. "The routes. The lookouts. The way they move people." He said nothing. That was answer enough. I leaned back on my heels, the weight of it crashing down on me all at once. He hadn't bought me to escape my past. He'd bought me because he was already running straight into it. We didn't leave the rest stop right away. The club spread out into the dark, keeping watch, giving us space without being told. The night pressed in around us, quiet now, like it was holding its breath after the violence. He sat on the concrete barrier, elbow resting on his knee, eyes fixed on nothing. I stayed where I was, the image of those scars burned into my mind. "You were inside," I said again, softer this time. "Weren't you?" "Yes." The word was flat, final. I hugged my arms around myself. "As what?" His jaw flexed once. Then he reached into his jacket and pulled out a cigarette. He didn't light it, just held it between his fingers like it anchored him. "My sister," he said, staring at the ground, "was sold there."
The air went cold.
I didn't speak. I was afraid if I did, I'd shatter the moment. "She was younger than you," he continued. "Smart.
Stubborn.
Thought she could outtalk men who only understood force." My chest tightened, painfully. "They told me she ran," he said. "That she owed too much. That they'd handled it." His fingers curled slowly around the cigarette until it bent. "They lied," he went on. "But not about the ending." I felt the echo of my own fear ripple through his words. The stage. The numbers. The way people looked at you when they thought you were already broken. "I tried to find her," he said. "By the time I did, there was nothing left to save." Silence stretched between us, thick and heavy. I could hear my own heartbeat, loud in my ears. "I'm sorry," I whispered. He nodded once, like that was enough. "That place," he said, lifting his eyes to meet mine, "isn't just one building. It's a system.
Routes.
Shell companies. Fake charities. Men who never get their hands dirty." I swallowed. "And you're dismantling it?" "Yes." "Alone?" A humorless smirk tugged at his mouth. "Not anymore." The realization hit me slowly, then all at once. "You didn't buy me because you wanted me," I said. "You bought me because I could get you inside." "Because you already belong to them," he corrected. "On paper. In their ledgers." I stiffened. "You're using me." "I'm offering you a choice," he said calmly. "Help me burn it down, or walk away when the 60 days are up." Walk away. The word felt hollow. The people who'd sold me would never forget my face. Never forgive the lost prophet. "They'll hunt me," I said. "Even if I leave." "Yes." The honesty in his voice stripped away any illusion I had left. I looked down at my hands. They were still trembling, but beneath the fear, something else stirred. Anger. Hot and sharp. "I know things," I said slowly. "Drop houses. Code phrases. How they move girls between cities." His eyes sharpened, interest cutting through the grief like a blade. I was listening long before I understood what I was hearing. I went on. "They don't notice women like me. They think we're already broken." A long pause. "You'd be in danger," he said. I let out a bitter laugh. "I already am." For the first time since we met, he extended his hand toward me. Not commanding. Not claiming. Offering. "If you do this," he said, "there's no halfway. Once we start, we don't stop." I stared at his hand, at the scars on his knuckles, at the weight of what he was asking. Then I placed my hand in his. His grip was firm.
Steady.
In that moment, something shifted between us. The cage I'd felt myself trapped in since the auction cracked open, just enough to let something dangerous and powerful through. We weren't captor and captive anymore. We were two people ruined by the same monsters, standing on the edge of revenge together. I wasn't meant to hear it. That much was clear the moment his voice carried down the hallway, low and tight, edged with something I'd never heard from him before. Calculation. I stood frozen just outside the safe house office, one hand hovering near the doorframe. The others were inside, maps spread out, phones glowing, weapons laid bare. I should have turned back the second I realized they were talking about the next move. But then I heard my name. "She's the key," he said. "Once she's inside, the rest will surface." Inside. My chest tightened. A voice I didn't recognize asked, "And after?" There was a pause. A long one. "She won't walk away from that place," he said finally. Not without drawing them out. The words sliced clean and deep. "So you're offering her back up?" someone pressed. Silence. My ears rang. My vision blurred.
He didn't deny it.
That was all I heard before the room tilted, and the walls seemed to close in. My hands shook as I backed away, every breath burning. The 60 days. The rules. The promises. All a setup. I didn't stop to think. I didn't stop to plan. I ran. The night swallowed me whole as I bolted into the trees, branches tearing at my clothes, feet slipping on wet ground. I didn't know where I was going, only that staying meant being handed back to the monsters who'd already owned me once. I didn't make it far. Hands grabbed me from behind, rough and practiced. A cloth pressed over my mouth. I fought, screamed, kicked, but the world went dark all the same. When I came to, the smell hit me first. Cigarette smoke.
Sweat.
Cheap cologne. The auction house. I was back in a windowless room, wrists bound, heart slamming against my ribs, so hard it hurt. A man crouched in front of me, smiling like he'd won something precious. Told you she'd come back, he said into a phone. Always do. Across town, he felt it the moment he walked into the empty room. The bed untouched. My bag gone. Where is she? He demanded, fury ripping through his voice. No one answered fast enough. He moved like a storm after that, guns drawn, orders barked, engines roaring. They traced signals, broke doors, left bodies in their wake. Too fast. Too reckless. By the time he reached the warehouse district, it was already over. The place was crawling with guards. Too many. Too prepared. He went in anyway. Gunfire erupted, deafening and wild. He tore through the front line, bloodied and relentless, until a bullet caught him high in the shoulder and sent him crashing to the floor. His crew dragged him out kicking and screaming. Not like this, one of them shouted. It's a trap. The warehouse doors slammed shut. Inside, I was stripped of my shoes again.
Cleaned.
Numbered. The white card felt heavier this time as they pinned it to my chest. 27. A mirror on the far wall showed me my own reflection. Eyes hollow, skin pale, hope flickering dangerously low. Voices rose outside the door.
Chairs scraping.
Men laughing. The bell rang. Lot 27, the auctioneer called. And somewhere out there, the countdown had begun. The first gunshot shattered the room. Not the polite, distant crack of an auctioneer's gavel, but a violent explosion that tore through the far wall in a shower of concrete and sparks. Men screamed. Chairs toppled. Someone yelled, "Get down." The lights flickered. I was still standing on the platform, number 27 pinned to my chest, when the doors blew inward and chaos poured in. Motorcycles roared inside the warehouse like unleashed beasts. Smoke grenades hissed across the floor, thick white clouds swallowing the stage, the bidders the guards. Fire alarms began to wail, sharp and relentless. Gunfire erupted from every direction. This wasn't a rescue. It was a war. I dropped to my knees, heart hammering, as men scattered and scrambled for exits that no longer existed. One of the guards lunged for me and went down hard as a bullet tore through his shoulder. Then I saw him. He walked through the smoke like something summoned by it, blood soaking his jacket, eyes burning with a fury so focused it felt unreal. His gun was steady, every shot precise, every step deliberate. He hadn't come carefully. He'd come to end it. "Don't touch her," someone shouted. Too late. He was already there. Our eyes locked across the chaos, across the months of fear and doubt and betrayal. For a heartbeat, the world narrowed to just us. "You ran," he said, voice rough but unmistakably his. "You lied." I shot back, tears streaking down my face. He shook his head sharply. "I never meant." A bullet struck the platform inches from my hand, splintering wood. "No time," he said.
He reached for me.
This time, I didn't hesitate. I took his hand willingly and jumped down into his arms as another explosion rocked the building. He pulled me close, shielding me as we moved, bodies hitting the floor around us. The auctioneer tried to run. One of his crew tackled him before he made it 3 steps. Fire spread fast. Flames licked up the curtains, crawled across the ceiling, devouring the lies built into every corner of that place. Smoke thickened, choking and black. Exits blocked. Someone yelled over the comms. He looked down at me. There's another way. He led me toward the back of the warehouse, through a corridor I recognized too well, the one they used to move people unseen. My pulse spiked. No, I whispered. Yes, he said. They built it to hide. We'll use it to finish this. We burst into the records room. Ledgers. Servers. Files stacked floor to ceiling. Names. Numbers. Levs reduced to ink and data. He tossed me a lighter. Your choice, he said. I stared at it, at the weight of what it meant. Burning this place meant no proof left. No bargaining chips. No turning back. The screams from the auction hall echoed closer. I thought of the stage. The number on my chest. The way they'd laughed. I flicked the lighter. Flame bloomed in my palm. Together, we set the room ablaze. Fire raced through paper and plastic, hungry and unstoppable. The building groaned, metal warping, alarms shrieking louder as the heat intensified. We ran. Just as the ceiling began to collapse, we burst out the back doors into the open night. Cool air hit my lungs, sharp and clean, and I sobbed as we stumbled clear. Behind us, the auction house burned. Not a symbolic flame. Not a quiet ending. An inferno. The place that had broken us screamed as it died. He turned to me then, eyes searching my face. I never planned to give you back, he said hoarsely. I needed them to think I might. I needed them exposed. I looked at him, really looked, at the blood, the scars, the man who had walked into hell for me twice. I know, I said. And this time, when I kissed him, there was no hesitation, no interruption, just heat and certainty and the sound of something terrible finally ending behind us. The building collapsed in a thunderous roar, sparks shooting into the sky like embers from a funeral pyre. We stood there together, watching the past burn. And for the first time since my life had been sold for a number, I felt free. Section 8. Freedom with him. Emotional resolution. Suggested word count. 500 to 600 words. Purpose. Satisfying ending without killing the edge. Key beats. Aftermath, news reports, disappearances. He offers her real freedom. She chooses to stay. Final intimate scene. Earned, not rushed. Closing line echoes the opening auction scene but reversed. Final line example. This time, I wasn't being bought. I was choosing. Retention technique. Emotional symmetry. Strong ending increases replays and comments.